In this video, we're going to talk about the Zizzo Liberte, and we're going to compare it a little bit to the Brompton, and we're going to talk about all the things I like and dislike about this bicycle. Okay guys, I like getting out of the city when I do reviews just because a lot of times doing reviews outside is really nice. So I come here a lot of times because it's usually pretty secluded for the most part. So today we're going to be talking about the Zizzo Liberte bike. I've done this review probably a dozen times, and it just sounds disingenuous every time I do it, so I'm just going to kind of be real with you guys. I've rode this bike for several months now. I've put it through massive amounts of abuse, and in this video I'm going to tell you exactly what I think of it, the things I like about it, the things I don't like about it. I'm going to tell you how it stacks up to the Brompton, how it compares, you know, and then whether you should buy one or not for yourself. So let's get into the video. The first thing that I want to talk about that I like the most about this bicycle would be the looks. I think it is a tough looking little bike. Now what you got to understand, guys, is a lot of folding bicycles are made for functionality. They're not made for looks, okay? A lot of folding bikes are more functional than they are aesthetically pleasing. Now as we can see, the Zizzo bike is a really decent looking bike. You know, a lot of folding bikes just kind of look like clunky versions of a commuter bike. But the Zizzo, it looks like a sports bike, you know, it looks like a tough, pretty quick sports bike. So I think it looks pretty cool. There's a lot of speculation out there whether looks even matter in the folding bike market. You know, a lot of people are like buying folding bikes because they're functional, right? You can fold them up, you can take them on commuter trains, they serve a purpose. It's not a form over function kind of thing with a folding bike. At least that's a lot of people's opinion. But my opinion is, if you could have the best of both worlds, right? If you could have the form and you could have the function, why not, right? Another thing that I like about the bicycle is the 20-inch wheels. Now, don't get me wrong, 16-inch wheels are pretty cool. They have their advantages, but they also have their disadvantages. A 20-inch wheel, however, has its advantages and disadvantages as well. But when it comes to stability, when it comes to riding on the gravel, going out and doing some trail riding, for example, if you want to go out and do some trail riding, the Zizzo bike is more suited for that. The cool thing about the Zizzo bicycle, okay, especially this one, the Liberte actually comes with a upgraded bottom bracket. There's another bike called the Urbano, and that bicycle is pretty much identical to this one, except for it has wider tires, more trail-orientated tires on it. It has a lower grade bottom bracket, and I think there's something else. I think it has a more comfortable seat. And ultimately, I think the Urbano is maybe a pound heavier, maybe because of the tires in the seat. I don't know. But this bike right here only weighs, get this guys, it only weighs about 23 pounds. I've measured this bike with the Brompton Chapter 3, and it is very, very close. I mean, within grams of the Brompton Chapter 3. So that says a lot, guys. This thing is light, and I'm telling you, it is light. It's like riding a Brompton Chapter 3, pretty much, as far as the lightness. When I was carrying this up and down the steps of my apartment building, I had no problems hauling this up and down the steps. The Brompton was a lot heavier, or at least it felt like it was a lot heavier. So I'm definitely kind of like, struggling a little bit more with the Brompton, at least my regular Brompton, not my Chapter 3. But this bike right here is definitely much lighter. Each of their bikes come with a kickstand, which I like. I mean, I always thought kickstands were kind of for weenies, but for the most part, I have enjoyed having a kickstand because it's really nice when you're trying to get stuff out of your backpack. You can take the bike and you can kind of let it lean against itself instead of leaning it up against a tree or just laying it down in the dirt or grass or whatever. As I've gotten older, I've seen the benefits of kickstands, but it definitely does come with a kickstand, so that's nice. The tires that are on it, I've never heard of this brand. It's Arison, never heard of it. They seem to do okay with puncture protection. They seem to do okay riding, over the potholes. The wheels of the bike itself are really, really strong. Of course, any wheel that's really small is going to be strong, guys. That's just a fact, all right? It's shorter spokes, definitely a tougher construction. So the tires themselves, they wobble a little bit, but for the most part, the wheels are pretty true. That is impressive considering the beating I've given this bike over the last 2 months. Now, the thing about the 20-inch wheels that I like the most, besides the traction, besides this, the increased stability, I like the fact that there's so many different tire combinations. There's so many different types of tires that you can get for this bicycle. As you guys see, I have put a set of 2.1-inch knobbies on this thing when I was riding in the winter. I got a separate set of wheels and I put knobbies on that, and the clearance for thicker and wider wheels, look at that. Look at that clearance, guys. You get a lot of clearance with this bicycle. I put 2.1-inch knobbies on this bicycle when I was riding through the snow and had no problems whatsoever. They rode really, really well, and they gripped pretty good, and I still had plenty of room to spare on that bicycle. So the tire combinations and the tire options for a 20-inch bicycle, they're through the roof. I mean, you can find all kinds of BMX style wheels and tires, and yeah, the sky's the limit when it comes to modifications on this particular bicycle. I like the folding pedals. Now, I kind of like these a little bit better than the Brompton because you can just push them in and they kind of fold. I like the fact that both pedals fold, which is not necessary on the Brompton, but it definitely is necessary on the Zizzo. So I don't know, I just kind of like this style folding pedal. A lot of people complain about the seat of this bicycle. You know, a lot of people complain about the seat and say it's very uncomfortable. I have not found that to be the case. I've rode, man, 80 something miles. I think it's the longest I've rode on this bicycle, and I found the seat fairly comfortable. This thing has a 8-speed Revo shift. It is a grip style shifter. It has a 1x system, a 1x8. But what I've had to do is I've had to change out the front gear. Now, the gear that came on this was like a 44 tooth, I think it was. I'll put it right down here, but I think it was a 44 tooth. I ended up having to change out the gear with a 60 tooth front to get the speed out of this bike that I wanted out of it. A lot of people, most people, would probably be okay with the 44 tooth chainring on the front. Me, I like to go really, really fast, so I put a really beefy gear on the front of this bicycle, that 60 tooth chainring. And so far it's done really, really well. But it is a modification that I did to this bicycle. So when I say it goes really, really fast, I kind of made it really, really fast, but also it's so light that it's just fast because it's so light. It's got a Shimano Altus, which is basic, you know, low line derailleur. I haven't had any problems with it. I do like to fold on this bicycle. The Zizzo or any folding bike that folds in half, they're never going to be as elegant. They're never going to be as precise at folding as the Brompton is, okay? The Brompton is designed like it's a work of genius, okay? Also, if you notice, when you fold up the Brompton, you really can't damage that bicycle folding it. There's always that guy out there that can break an anvil with a rubber mallet, okay? But for the most part, if you kind of don't even know what you're doing when you're trying to fold the Brompton, it folds a specific way. You can't fold it the wrong way. Now, with these bikes that fold in half, you can fold them the wrong way and you can damage them. I saw this guy on YouTube and he was trying to fold a Zizzo bike. He was actually talking about his Zizzo bike and he was folding it, and just look at this. Yeah, you see where he's like trying to clamp the thing together and he's trying to force it. See, that wouldn't happen with the Brompton. That's why the Brompton is so awesome with its fold. But the Zizzo bike is the same way. You really got to know how to fold it, and I'm going to show you how to do that. The first thing you got to do, guys, the first thing is you got to raise this clamp right here, and you got to turn until the shifter levers are facing directly up. Once that's done, you undo this clamp right here and you raise the bar as high as it will go. This is really important, and this is the one step that a lot of people miss, and they end up damaging their folding bike because of it, or scratching it up or beating it up. And I'm going to show you why. Now, I use this Velcro strap as a secondary, you know, safety feature to keep that, you know, clamp from falling down. Even though it does have its own safety lock, basically you push this down and you're able to undo the hinge right here. And as you can see, it definitely has a lock that moves out of the way and it catches right here. You see, you push it and you're able to pull it down. I just use the Velcro strap as an extra safety measure, that's all. It's not anything with the quality of the bike. To me, I just like having something there to keep that in place just in case the lock breaks or something like that. I don't know. But anyway, once you pull this down, this comes out and then the whole handlebar can fold down. Now, here is why it's so important to have this fully extended. When this comes down, you want it to clear the bottom axle. When people do not fully extend this steering stem, what happens is the handlebars will hit against the frame itself. And you'll notice when you see people's folding bikes, there'll be gouges and dents right inside the aluminum just because they did not fold this all the way down, and guess what? Your handlebar is hitting. As you can see, it's got a lever right here with a you know, another lock. You have to open this lock right here, and then the folding bike can fold in half. First, we got to fold the pedals up. So we push this lever in right here and fold the pedals up. And now we can fold the thing in half. Basically, when you try to fold this up and this handlebar is not fully extended down, it's going to hit into this, it's going to hit into that, and it's not going to allow these magnets to catch. Where right now you see that they catch. A lot of people try to close that with that handlebar not fully extended, and what happens is they can't fully, that magnet can't hit each other, and basically they're trying to force it and they're bending their handlebar doing it. It's ridiculous. That's what you saw just a minute ago when that one guy was trying to fold his bike up. A lot of people they're not going to know that you have to fully extend that handlebar before you fold it up. They're not going to know that unless somebody tells them. And that's the biggest problem when people come to folding these bikes, and that's how they damage them. But the last step is to obviously undo this clamp down here and lower the seat. Now when you lower the seat, you have to turn it around backwards. Now see, with the seat turned around backwards, you can carry it pretty easy. Now see, that thing is really light, and you know it's light because you see my arms, okay? I have twig arms. I don't have any upper body strength whatsoever. If I can carry that easy, you can carry it easy. But the folding is pretty good. You know, I compared the size with the Brompton the other day, and I put both of them side by side, and you see the difference. I mean, there's obviously a little bit of difference when it comes to the way it looks, you know. Obviously, I think the Brompton looks a lot better when it's folded, but also you could see that the Brompton is definitely much smaller when it is folded. But if you were to lift both of these up with your arms, you would definitely see that the Zizzo is definitely a much lighter bicycle than, you know, your standard Brompton is. So all in all, I like the fold of the Zizzo. I like it. I think it looks okay. I mean, it's not as elegant as the Brompton, obviously, but it still does okay. This particular Zizzo is much lighter than the Brompton, you know, your standard Brompton. I like that about it. So I like the weight. I like the handling of the bike. It really, really handles very well. I like the fact that I can take this on trail riding, you know, out in the gravel, up in the mountains, and really, really just open her up and not have to worry about slipping out like I do on the Brompton. I love the durability of this bike, guys. I can beat this bike up, and so far it has held up pretty dang good. I've hit some massively Grand Canyon sized potholes with this thing, and I thought for sure I was going to break it, and nope, it's still running good. I wrecked this bicycle when I was out filming. Ouch. Yeah, I've wrecked this bicycle, man, and guess what? You know, I damaged it a little bit on the seat. You can see right here, and a little bit of damage right here. And yeah, I hit pretty dang hard, and I was going pretty fast at that time, and yet the frame is still pretty good. The wheels aren't bent. I mean, yes, this bike is extremely durable. Carrying the weight that I carry on my back, you know, this bike has held up really, really well. The maneuverability of this bicycle is not as good as the Brompton, but it's pretty dang good, okay? I've been able to, you know, maneuver through some pretty tight situations on this bicycle. So ultimately, I think the handling is really, really well, the maneuverability, the acceleration, the speed, all that stuff. I'm very, very pleased with this bicycle. The last thing that I like about the Zizzo bicycle, guys, the last thing is the fact that a lot of this stuff that's on this bicycle you can get from a regular bicycle shop. The actual seat post is proprietary. Anything to do with the frame, the steering stem, that's proprietary. But everything else you could pretty much get from a regular bicycle shop, guys. With the exception of maybe this derailleur hanger, I'm not sure. I know that they do have these where you can order them off the Zizzo website. But for the most part, I think everything else is pretty much just standard bicycle stuff. And that is one thing that I really love, because if something does get damaged, I can just walk into a regular bicycle shop and say, hey, I need to get a replacement V-brake, or I need to get a replacement derailleur, or I need to buy a rim or a wheel or whatever, and I can get it. Now we're gonna get onto some of the things that I don't so much like about this bicycle. First off, okay, the brakes. Oh my God, the brakes, they are horrible. Okay, look, they work, okay? Don't get me wrong, they work, they do their job, okay? The first set of brake pads that were on this bicycle wore out really quickly, so I ended up getting a replacement set from my local bike shop. But ultimately the V-brakes do work and it does stop the bicycle, but it's definitely a thing that I just do not like about this bike. I really wish it had discs. Zizzo, get on that. Make some disc brakes and this would be perfect. This bike would be awesome. I understand, as tall as this is, maybe regular caliper style would not work, but some disc brakes would be awesome, man. If Zizzo came out with disc brakes, that would be perfect. But for the most part, the brakes do work, so don't get me wrong, guys. You're not gonna die or run into a bus or something, but you're definitely not gonna be as pleased with these brakes as you are on the Brompton. Another thing I don't like about this bicycle is the quick release levers. I'm not a fan of quick release, mainly because if you do leave your bike locked outside, which I don't recommend you do, but some people don't have a choice, it just means that you got to lock your wheels up or lock your wheels to your bicycle frame, which is a pain in the butt. Now, we're not saying anything bad about Zizzo, because Zizzo's Forte model, which we're going to be talking about, and the Zizzo Urbano, they do have bolt-on rims, so I like those a lot better. At least I like that feature about those bikes a lot better. So that's pretty much it. The brakes and the quick releases are pretty much the only thing about this bike that I don't like. That's not a lot of stuff. For the most part, it's been a really good bike. I thought it handled really well. It stopped, you know, not the greatest stopping, you know, in the world. You know, the brakes definitely can use some improvement, but you know, the coolest thing about the brakes is you can change them out if you want to. So those two things, the brakes and the quick release levers, are pretty much the only things that I don't like about this bicycle. I mean, everything else I'm pretty satisfied with. So ultimately, guys, yeah, I would definitely recommend this bicycle. I would definitely recommend this bicycle for anybody who wants a folder that's cheap, that's light, that's durable, and that they want to ride around the parks like this, or they want to go and ride around the city and they want to hit massive potholes, or they want to take the bike into their office building. It offers a lot of the same benefits that a Brompton does. Okay, it's not as small, it doesn't fold as elegantly, you know, there's some things about it that aren't as good as the Brompton, but then again, there are things about this bike that are better than the Brompton. So it's a trade-off no matter what you guys do. But if your budget is a lot lower and you don't want to go out there and spend, you know, $1,500 to $2,000 on a basic Brompton, and you want to spend $425 and go out there and buy yourself a Zizzo, then I would highly recommend this bike, because I've been riding it and it's been doing really well for me. And like I said, I put my bike through more stress in 1 month than most people probably do in a whole year, and I'm not even exaggerating. Okay guys, to wrap up this video, I really want to say that I cannot say enough good things about the Zizzo bicycle. For the price, I think it's a very competent folding bicycle. In the next video, we are going to talk about Zizzo as a company, and we're going to take a look at the Zizzo website, because there are some really cool things on the Zizzo website that I want to show you guys. We're also going to be doing an unboxing and a first impressions of the Zizzo Forte. I've had this thing in my living room for a couple weeks now, and I'm kind of anxious to unbox it and take a first look at it. This is a 300-pound load capacity folding bicycle, guys. This thing is designed to be a commuter bicycle. It has the rack, it has the fenders, it has all that stuff. So I'm really anxious to unbox this and take a look at it with you guys. We will do that in an upcoming video. I'm sorry that this video ran a little bit long. I've had a lot of good things to say about the Zizzo bicycle, and I tried to shorten it, I'm sorry. Guys, if you have any comments or questions about the Brompton or the Zizzo bicycle, leave it down in the comment section. I'll be glad to peruse through those and answer any questions that you guys might have. Guys, slap a like on the video if you like it. It does help out the channel, and I do really appreciate it. and I will see you guys on the next video. Have a nice day, and bye-bye.